I've been hearing a lot lately about men don't talk, but in my experience, men do talk, just people aren't listening. So it's going to be me and a group of blokes discussing our struggles and victories through life. Warning, there may be some bad language, so apologies to all the moms, especially my own. Let's get going.
Yeah, and Happy New Year to you all. This is the Black Country Blokes, during the fact about everything that is men's mental health, disability, life in general, and my first love, amateur boxing. Here me, Kev Dillon, and Lee Cadman, and our special guest, a good old pal of mine, and a great bloke, Richie Ghent, from RG Boxfit. So, Richie, thank you ever so much, brother, for coming on.
Thanks for having me on, Kev. Thank you.
So, before we start and talk about everything that Richie's doing for Midlands boxing, we're going to talk about our gratitude list. As you might have seen, we've been doing This Is Me, This Is Us. And I was so proud of the amount of people who joined in, talk about them on a good day, them on a bad day. And I worked out, I posted something today. On average, we lose 12 men a day through suicide. So in the 38 days that's been running, we've lost almost 400 men from the start of January to today, the 7th. 400 men. And I saw an interesting stat. Out of every one man that takes his own life, 25 people attempt suicide. How horrific that is. But I was so proud of all the effort that we've been doing through this. And I was talking to someone who's been having a rough time. And he says, the system won't save us. Our support networks will. So I'm very grateful for the people I do have around me. And I want you to pass that forward. Be someone's rock, because they might need you. What are you grateful for?
Oh, I'm going to suck up and say the wife. She's put on a great Christmas for us all. She does most of the work. I'm not going to lie. She does most of the work with presents and putting the tree up and making it special for the kids and myself. So, yeah, I'm grateful that she's done that and grateful for her.
And Richie, what are you grateful for?
Grateful for family and health. Waking up every day, being healthy, seeing my kids healthy, seeing my wife healthy. So, yeah, I'm grateful for that.
There's an old saying about that. A well man wishes for many things. A sick man only wishes for one. That's to get better. Yeah. And it's so true. And we take health so granted. You know, but when you're poorly, you think, bloody hell, imagine being like this.
That's it, with the flu going around at the moment, isn't there? How many people have been ill? So I know my mum and dad have been ill. And then, like I just shared my wife lost her granddad Saturday, pneumonia. So, yeah, it's one of them where I'm grateful for the health at the moment and waking up every day and knowing my kids are healthy, I'm healthy, and my friends and the rest of my family are, yeah.
Yeah. So, Richard, what got you into boxing? Because you used to box for the Priory.
So, year 8, I think it was, I was playing basketball at school. Never ever been into fighting. Done karate. I think every kid done karate. Karate kid growing up. We'd all been like, I want to do that crane kick or something. Yeah, I'd always done a bit of karate. Never really got into it too much. Never really took it too serious. And then went to secondary school. Never really into fighting. I love my football. Started playing basketball. Went up for a shot against another school. This kid elbowed me, sucked his teeth at me, and I think I just let loose and I hit him with a right hand. Knocked him out, gave him a lot of injuries. And then the next day I had to go to the police station. I got arrested. Walked to the police station and the sergeant said to my dad, look, if you can, he's done this with one punch, I recommend you get him into a local boxing club. And at the time, I think a couple of days later in the Express and Star was a picture of Ryan Aston and Jimmy Bowwater, who just entered the championships that year. So my dad gave, I think it was Darren McDermott at the time, who was coaching at the Priory, give him a call and I started from there.
He's another great bloke, ain't he, Macca?
Macca, brilliant, yeah.
Set up his own club, Brooklyn. So I'd love to get Macca on here. I've asked him a few times to talk about, how his life's changed. I mean, having that brain on the bleed, bleed on the brain. And you're thinking, well, what a great bloke. He didn't let him get him down, started his own club.
Yeah, brilliant. And a really good coach.
Really good coach. And a great bloke. So it's year 8, so you went down to the Priory, and when I say we've had Wars, Pete, I want to get Paul Goff on here sometime this year as well. What a great club it is and great people there.
Yeah, it's like a big family. When we first started, like what you've seen the gym now, it's like a beautiful gym. When we was there, I think there was 1 ring, 5 bags. It stunk like shit. And it was like that's one
Proper
thing.
boxing gym.
You walked in, you're just like, oh, you could smell it, and then you never get used to that smell either. Like every session you walked in, like, and you'd walk out and you're like, that's fresh. But yeah, there weren't many boxers. Wazza was boxing at the time. Yeah, he was. I think he was going into like his more or less his last year as a senior. And then you had Ryan Aston doing really well. And I think, do you remember James Bowalter, Jimmy?
Yeah,
he was a great fighter. So there weren't many of us. Darren McDermott was actually boxing. His brother, he was boxing. So I think there's only about 7 really that was carded. I think I got chucked in after 7 months. So boxing, there's like you're fighting. I was like thinking to my dad, nah.
That's what happens when you knock people out with right hands.
And then there's like, come on, you having a bell? I'm like, no, I didn't like it. Actually, the pressure and how I felt. And I think I had 4 bouts, won 4, and I still didn't enjoy it one bit. And then I went into the championships and boxed a kid for was it Price from Birmingham City. I think he'd won the nationals the year before. I never really knew how good he was. All I just saw was his badges on.
Back in the olden days, you wouldn't know, would you? Because there was no Facebook.
No social media or nothing.
You might know his name, and you only knew his name if you'd been on the circuit for a long time because you recognised him.
Yeah. So I can imagine losing that bout in the championship and everything. So it just clicked.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I don't want that feeling again, losing, and just I started to fall in love with it then.
And then Tom's your brother, isn't he?
Yeah.
Is he your younger brother?
He's younger, yeah.
Yeah, and then did he follow your footsteps by going?
Yeah. So Macca, Darren, he always used to say, when you starting, and he's like, he wanted to start. My dad thought he was a bit too young, and then he just got involved more or less straight away, and then he had all the natural talent and gift. The sod. Where I had to work harder. I'd have to diet. He could eat a pizza, and the next morning still have a 6-pack.
There you are, them people.
He wouldn't have to run. He just everything he had was just natural talent and just naturally gifted, and he could tap a bit as well. Where I had to work really hard to even get the weight down and just sparring, everything would go wrong. Paul would be like, right, you've got to do this. I'm like, okay, yeah, bang, bang, bang. Where my brother would just figure it out for himself.
Well, it's great to have, like, I mean, you look at your biological family's there, but like Paul, and you're a coach now, and we'll talk about your club in a bit. You don't realise how important the coach is to you, because it is your dad, it's your social worker, it's your counsellor. You're not just showing how to do footwork and punching, are you? No. I think that's what boxing gyms bring, role models, father figures. I think when growing up, I mentioned again just before we went live, when that phone rings and it used to be Paul, I used to question myself, what have I done? Where was I last night? What was right? Let me get my story straight. And then you'd answer it, you'd be like, you all right, champ? Yeah, I'm all right, actually. It's all it be. Rich. Yeah, what do you want? Like that. Yeah. We don't have that now in clubs where that you're scared of your coach. Not in a nasty way, but
I've got to be accountable to him.
Yeah, you have to be accountable, exactly. Yeah, you don't want to let him down. You don't want to. You do something stupid, and you're like, oh, I hope Paul doesn't find out about that, or I hope Wazza doesn't find out about that. Instead of your parents, you'd be more embarrassed if the boxing coaches found out than you would be with your mum and dad. So I think that's what's good about boxing gyms and boxing coaches. How we can bring and develop kids through as role models, father figures, but we can't save them all. No, unfortunately, and it's funny, look, because you have the dream is you have children that turn to teenagers, that turn to grown-ups, and they live happily ever after. That's the dream, isn't it? Yeah. Because we work with the scallywags, the kids who don't always fit in. You know what I mean? Because he's either been a bully, who's done with his Andy, he's been bullied, so he's a bit broken. And they're the two main people who come into gyms. Yeah. A kid who wants to come and get fit, but really, or the dad drags them there. Yeah.
And you've got to have something wrong in your head to want to be punching the head, haven't you?
Anyone who boxes has got something wrong with them.
It's got to, haven't they?
I think there's only one thing worse than a boxer. That's a coach.
Yeah.
Because
we have to love them.
That's it. The boxers don't understand that they might have pissed you off that night, and then when you go home to bed, they've easily forgot about it. You're up till stupid o'clock thinking, right, how am I going to get out of this situation with him? How am I going to help him out here?
Yeah.
How am I going to let this club down now and let him know that he's decided to eat a big massive cake on his birthday Tuesday when he's supposed to be fighting Friday?
Yeah.
So and if it's the amateurs, you do it for free.
Well, that's it, yeah. And then you're letting other clubs down, and other clubs are putting shows on, and you know that you've got to pull a bit. I've done it before where I've had to pull one of my fighters out, and there was desperately keen to get this bout on last minute, and then I've had to pull him out. So I'm even looking for the other club, to try and match their kid, because you do feel guilty. You take it to heart, and you don't want to be that guy in the gym or at shows that walk in and you're like, oh, he's let me down here, he let me down the other week, he let me down, and it's totally out our hands. But the boxers don't do that.
Or even sometimes when they've had a bad spar, they've got caught with a lucky shot and he's gone over and you feel terrible. You think, but that's the game, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the game we win. Yeah, there's been a few occasions in the gym where, especially with the pros, where you've had lads come in and then get hurt, and it's scary. It opens your eyes up to make you realise that this game's serious, especially in professional boxing. Amateur boxing's a hell of a lot safer than pro boxing, but it's a dangerous sport that we mean.
And then you'll have staff parents going, Kev's dying to spar, and Kev's going, aye, don't make me spar. He's dying to, he's all this, aye, please don't. You're thinking, as a parent, we're all dads here, you love your children more than anything. And if my daughter can do karate or boxing, and they went, I think he's ready to spar, I go, are you sure? Are you sure she's ready? I wouldn't be telling them that she's ready, because I'm thinking, no matter what martial art you're doing, there's a risk she might get hurt. So I want to know that she's definitely ready.
Well, tough love, dads, parenting, that's what I don't like.
Yeah.
Where, do you know what, put him in, he needs it. Yeah. There's other ways to get your kid to mature and develop than just chuck him in the ring and get punched and beat up. Yeah. And especially if you want to watch that happen. Yeah. Where I might do that, but like I said earlier, no parents allowed. Yeah. Where I always explain, why don't you have parents come in? I'm like, so okay, for example, we've got boxer A sparring, and I say to him, right, this is what I want you working on your jab today. Get that hand back into the correct position. Keep moving your feet in out. I said that's going to be that's the point where I want you working on most today. That lead hand jab and positioning and your feet working. But the parent of boxer A doesn't understand what I've just told him. Yeah. And all he's doing is throwing his jab, moving his feet, not really throwing his backhand. And then all of a sudden that kid finishes the spar, comes in. What was that about? Why didn't you let your backhand go? You need to stop throwing that backhand. Boxer A's like, Rich didn't really want me throwing it. Yeah, but that's ridiculous. You got caught with that many shots then. That was terrible. Even though after he's finished that spar, I've said to him, that was absolute superb today. Your feet was amazing. That left-hand distribution was absolute on point. Brilliant. Well done. Now next week we'll move on to working that backhand in, scoring the points with the backhand. Okay. But that kid gets in the car with his dad. His dad then gets home. Kid walks in the house. Mom's cooking dinner. Mom goes, how was the gym? Dad goes, it was shit. He don't even let his backhand go. If he spars like that again next week, he's going to keep getting beat up. Kid comes back in the following week. His dad's in the car. What's his dad say to him? Make sure that you have that right hand's going. But make sure you're landing that backhand in. Make sure you're doing this, doing that. So that kid's now thinking, okay, gets in there. Right, remember what you done last week? That jab was great. Yeah. Because the pot, all he wants to do is throw that backhand because you're back to square one. But then dad's more pleased at the back going, that's better, son. Yeah. You might come on.
You ain't learned nothing.
You haven't learned nothing there.
And that's the key in sparring, isn't it?
Yeah, just let the kids, just let them be.
Let them learn. Try things that you're going to try in a fight, and let them learn. Not you ain't there to hurt the person.
Just get in a flow state. Yeah.
I don't get an electrician around my house and tell him how to do it. Otherwise, I'd wire it myself.
I don't, but my missus would. that socket don't go that way. She'll let him do his job. It says on Google, though.
So, once you left the priory, I mean, you went straight into the pros then, didn't you? With the pros
no,
training.
so one of the reasons why I left the Priory was I wanted to get a property.
Yeah.
I wanted to get on the property ladder. You grow as a person as you get a bit older. So I finished boxing when I was 23. I think my last fight was. And then I had a couple of summers where I travelled, had a bit of fun.
Yeah.
I was still coaching out the Priory. And then I come back and then realise that actually I'm self-employed. I want to get on the property ladder. My wife was self-employed at the time also. So it was really hard work saving the money up, getting our books together. So I'd just come away from the actual coaching at Priory and concentrated more on myself. I was working out of a gym with Wayne Evans in Jewelry Quarter in Birmingham. And it was, probably the best few years of my life because no mortgage, no kids, in a relationship, earning my own bit of money, saving, but at the time doing really well. And then it got to a point where we got our house in a little area called Moxley. It's a posh little area. It's a shithole. But the area is like just crying out for a boxing club because it is rough. And even now, I think the Lund, where the gym is, it's in the top 20 in the UK for worst youth knife crime.
Yeah. So
it's crying out still for more to be happening in the community. So that's when I set up the boxing club then. I had a little space that I was using, trialled it out for 6 months, and then I took on the lease, and I've got the lease now of the gym.
How many years you had it?
So I think 7, 8 years now I've been there. But I wasn't working with the amateurs to start with.
So you plan to just do professionals?
Just to the pros, yeah, because I knew the commitment that you had to have with the kids and the amateur side of things. The commitments for myself at that time was too high. I just took on the house as well. So I wanted to make sure that I'm still earning enough money. I didn't really have the time to put into voluntary hours of building the kids up. But then after a few months, I thought, I'll put a kids class on, see how it goes. And I put the kids class on, and it was within no time. I was having like 20, 30 kids there. But what I was doing, once I got good enough, I was sending them to different clubs. And then I thought, what, why not? So I think it was like just before COVID, 2019, we got affiliated. We had like one little season at it, and then COVID hit and slowed the process down. Yeah. Where we lost a lot of the carded boxers who first started. But yeah,
I'll tell you something. When we had COVID, Reed, I thought it was the end. I thought, look, we had to shut all the clubs down, and then downstairs we had to draw squares on the floor, and you weren't allowed to hit each other. And if you hit the bag, I had to run over after the ring and wipe it down. I thought, how are we ever going to go back to boxing if we can't even share a bag, or we can't share gloves? And I looked, and we went from having like 30 kids here a night to 6.
Yeah.
Because you had to phone to book in. So, but they'd phone to book in, but then they wouldn't phone if they weren't coming. So we're always cancelling. You know what I mean? You always saying, sorry, Richie, sorry, Lee, you can't come because Kev's coming, and then Kev wouldn't turn up.
Yeah, it was a scary time when you look back.
It is.
At the time, I think what we was having to do just to keep the clubs afloat and keep them working. Like, luckily, like my club was classed as RG Boxfit, was classed as a business, and I had the lease of the building, so I did get some grants, which I'm really grateful for because it allowed me to keep everything up and running. But for the other small business out there that didn't have anything underneath them, and they was just literally back down to the subs, then you can see how a lot of businesses went under, didn't they?
Yeah.
A lot of clubs closed, but I think now everything should be back up and running.
And you couldn't even train the professionals to begin with, could you?
No, even the pro boxing stopped.
And then once they started back up, there probably wasn't that much training going on then because you had to get them onto a card, and cards were scarce.
Well, that's it. Luckily, we had Connor Box on the Channel 5, and then I had Jason Wellborn give me a call and just say, "Oh, I fancy coming down and doing a bit with yourself." So he come down, and then he asked me to coach him for the Felix Cash fight, and that was in the Eddie Earns garden.
Yeah.
So
I bet that's an experience. Yeah,
it was brilliant, especially in the hotel down there as well, because they put us all into a bubble. But there'd be 30 of us in a bubble. So like we had our own little garden terrace. You had Darren Barker bring the cricket wickets and cricket bats. It was absolute red hot. I don't know if you know Gav Burrows, the KT Healy's coach.
Oh yeah.
I think he was just getting drunk every day, treating it like a summer camp. She was down there on the Tuesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and the fight was on the Saturday night. So it was just that. Oh, it was unbelievable. Really good experience, good laugh. And then you look back and think, we was in prison.
Yeah.
Basically, it was in imprisonment. But yeah, but it was a great experience, that show. Really good.
I'm surprised I've not carried that on. Actually, it's a bit of a tradition, you know.
I know, yeah, it would be good. It would be
with
great.
a bit of a crowd there.
But it was just so. It's hard to explain the silence of the ring walk. Like,
well, I noticed it watching. I can't even remember. It might have been I think Joe Joyce fought, didn't he? It might have been. Was it Dubois? I can't remember anyway. So that long ago.
Oh yeah, Joe Joyce.
But that was, and I remember just thinking, it's just silent.
Yeah.
It's just, and then they tried on the TV to put that soft noise over the top of it, which just made it worse. I'm like, what's that?
Well, in his garden, all you can use the drone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're in the corner, you're like,
what's that buzzing?
Oh, yes. He's right above you. So really, really weird. And the shots that went in, crazy. Yeah.
Well, I remember one of the first pro ones I went to was David A. Enzo Macronelli. It was at the O2, and I was in the gods, absolutely in the gods. But I heard the thud of his punches over that crowd. David A. when he connected, I thought, Jesus Christ!
When he waxed,
you just think. So imagine there when there's no noise, because I don't know how many was there, 30,000 or something. There's no noise, and you can hear that thud.
That's what I say about Crocker. When Conor fought him, I've never heard shots like that ever. I've been in heavyweight corners, light heavyweight corners, middleweights. But when he was landing, oh my God, it sounded like shotguns going off. I can remember the first left hook he got caught with. I think it was about 45 seconds into the first round. And I can remember just looking away and I grabbed it. And I was like, had a little look back, I was like, hell, he's held that. Like a monster, because it was an absolute beast of a shot he walked through. But like the sound of him was just absolute nuts.
What bit has been mad though in your journey, being a coach and boxer and all this, going from like town halls to massive paper, like what Conor was saying, to just being there with no crowd. I bet it was such a spooky experience, wasn't it?
It was really weird.
Having more atmosphere in your boxing club than you have on a.
And there's a lot more pressure on you as a coach as well.
Yeah.
Because when you're on the TV shows, what made me a bit more aware of it was I can remember when Ricky Summers first come to me, and then we had a phone call, and Errol Johnson said, "Does Ricky Summers want the Frank Buglioni fight for the British title?" In I think it was like 6 weeks, and I was like, "This is my first ever pro on my own. I've worked alongside Paul Goff before with pros, but this is my first time I've ever took anyone on." And I was like, "Okay." So my first ever pro corner was headlining the O2 for the British title with Ricky Summers in a 12-rounder. So I had to try to get him fit for the 12 rounds. He'd never done past, I think it was 6 rounds. He'd never done past. He was scheduled in for 8 rounds once. I think he stopped him in the 5th or 6th round. So he'd never ever gone past that. So the pressure that was on, and in the away corner, they said something. They was asking him to cheat one way or another because Ricky kept on catching him low, I think. And they asked this, and like afterwards, they was all going mad about the corner. Straight away, I was like, what have I done? I was thinking, what have I done? Have I messed up somewhere? Or the swearing, there's apologising for my swearing. But this, in the opposite corner, there was asking him to, I forget what it was, whether it's to punch him low on purpose, and there's all going absolute mad about it. So that's when I started to be aware of, on them big shows, you've got to be really careful of what you're saying. You've got to have thick skin, because the slightest bit of information, they want to come down on you like a ton of bricks, and you're the shittest coach in the whole of the UK. So you have to be very there's a lot of pressure.
It's even more so now with social media as well. You saw it, Fury Usyk's first fight, and it wasn't great corner work, let's be honest, from viewers. A lot of voices weren't there. Yeah. But it gets picked, like before, that news would have gone away quickly, wouldn't it? No social media. That just dragged on for weeks. Like, basically, you got to sack your whole corner because they've had one bad.
And that's what's the worst thing. That's what's all about boxing. Yeah. That's why I'm grateful with the relationship me and Conor have got. Because when Conor's cup fell short in the past, it's okay. I'm willing to rebuild as a team here, and let's have a look at the big picture of what's happened. Where did you go wrong? What could you improve on? What can I improve on? Because it was our was all complacent in that, thinking, okay, this is a bit too comfortable now. Do I need to shove a finger up your backside in the corner? You know what I mean? Like, get you going. So you got to look at it and be open-minded, and then try and progress as a team.
And you're doing it live as well, aren't you? It's like there's no reruns. You don't get to watch. You don't get to watch around, then rewatch it, then give him his voice.
Yeah,
you have to do it as you're going.
You're in the moment.
Yeah.
You're in the moment. You're going off your instincts.
And you love the kid, and you've been on this journey together. And you know, we're human beings, aren't we?
Yeah.
I always think it's so cruel in professional boxing when they go, "All right, then you lost. So how do you feel?" And they stick the microphone. You're thinking, let him go and have 10 minutes. Let him go back to the change room and talk to him then, because my heart's broken. And you're sticking of, and they say, like what AJ did and Fury did, they say something stupid because they're slightly concussed, their heart's broken, and then the media rips them apart. Also, and you're thinking, this guy's world's just ended.
Yeah.
Let him go back, compose himself, and talk to him in a bit. The winner's more than happy to talk.
Yeah.
But the loser, let him go and adjust himself.
It's always that little arm round the shoulder after the end of it, and say, right, you okay? How are you feeling? All right. And you get to know straight away where the emotions are, and so you can judge it right like that. With Conor, I always do it with Conor. He probably doesn't even know it, but if he looks back at the Crocker fight, first thing I think I went and took him and just grabbed him by the head, looked at him, had a little chat to him, just so I knew where he was mentally. Because sometimes you can, if everyone's telling him that, oh, you've won that, the last thing you want to see is kind of kicking off, go, what is it? Where? So it's just trying to help their emotions be part of.
That's it. And it's a mad thing, because a fight loss can be devastating financially, because you can go from looking to the next fight and earning stupid amounts of money, or you can lose that fight and actually be back down to small all shows where you're not picking up hardly anything. So the financial, there's pressure on some of the boxers when they're going to win that fight. Is absolutely unreal.
Well, that's it. Look, people like tickets for a big Birmingham matchroom show. Oh, everyone wants to go, but when do they want to go to Bescoff? Them tickets. Oh, do you know what? Now I'll wait for his next one. So before you know it, you're then having to spend quite a bit of money on getting an opponent in. That's coming out your sponsorship, or like I said, it's coming out my purse, my own money. It's people don't understand that. They do want the glam shows where it's the small all shows that really do struggle.
Have you managed to go over Saudi yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I can't wait to get
I
over
bet.
there.
Keep looking at that again. That'd be a cracking boy. Come on, Conor, win this next one. You never know.
We was nearly there. Well, we was nearly on the Saudi. We was nearly on one of the Riyadh shows when Conor should have been. We got offered the fight with Josh Kelly, didn't we?
Did you?
So I could have been in my caravan thinking, well, that's it. I'm having nothing to do with boxing this weekend. Promised the wife. Done. I went down, set my caravan up early. She was driving down to me. They had a phone call. He's kind of fit. Well, he's back sparring this week. He was, but he had a little operation. I said, so he's not fully fit. Will he be fit for next week? I was like, no. I said, well, what about for this much? You speak to Conor. And Conor was like, yeah, well up for it. But then last minute we got beat by Ishmael Davis to take the fight. Which Conor was well up for, and I think Conor would have done that absolutely nothing for him as well.
So you know what? I think well, you'd have to be a fully fit Conor to be fair. But who did Kelly lose against now? Avanesian, wasn't he? And they're very similar fighters, isn't they?
Yeah, beast. Avanesian is horrible fighter.
Oh, that'd have been interesting.
No. Payday would have been good for Conor as well.
He'll come now, won't he? He's looking when we had him on here, and he's saying like he's got his things that he manifests over, and he's got his what he's going to do. And I thought, for a young chap, you've really got your head screwed on, and he's got his goals and he sees what he wants to do, where the money he's going to make from boxing, what he's going to invest in. I thought, fair play to you.
He's been sending me quotes out of a book all week. Just talking about like flow state, and like he's when he gets his head onto something, he's unbelievable to train. I won't change him. Wouldn't change anything about him. Yeah, in between camps, sometimes you can go out and have a drink, but even then, like you do what you've got to do. You have your family time, because every time I say, right, we're back in camp, everything's 100%.
Ricky Hatton was very similar to that one. He probably took it to extreme.
Ricky Hatton took it to extreme.
But when they said your camp starting, he was nailed in, and
that's it. And that's the trouble when fighters get a bit older. People need camp to lose weight before they can start camp, because they can't start sparring because they're too overweight, they'll start getting injuries. People don't want to spar them because they're weighing 3 stone everything or what they should than what they normally fight at. So people will be like, okay, what's his weight at the minute? Oh, he's weighing so forget that then.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get the right sparring you need. Where I think now what boxers are starting to realise that you've got to stay ready. You've got to stay in them little percentages.
Yeah.
So if you're not fighting for 6 months, let's go out and get some top quality sparring. Let's go abroad. Let's travel. Let's get this bit of work in. And if you match up a certain percentage with your weight, you'll get that work and you'll progress. Where a lot of fighters just think, well, I'm not fighting for 6 months.
I think it's even more relevant around the West Midlands because the opportunities aren't as readily available. So you've got to be ready to jump if someone does say, well, in 3 weeks, you've got this fight.
Yeah.
If you've got a baseline of fitness, you're all right then.
Every pro should be 6 round ready. You should be ready. 6 round ready. Phone call, right, 6 round the next week. I'm ready. Yeah. Every pro should be, especially if you're under 10 fights. If you're first starting off in the sport and you think you're having to have a camp for a 4-rounder and then you're going missing for 4 weeks, what I used to do. So that's what, now anyone turns pro, right, you ain't doing that. So if you fought on the Saturday, you're back in the gym on the Wednesday. Yeah. You're not having 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off. I want you back in. I want you ready to go again. And that's when you see the best results. Danny Ball boxing for the English title. That's what Danny done. He fought and then he come back straight into camp, had a good solid, I think it was 8-9 weeks straight after that, fought for the English, and his best performance yet, made the weight comfortable, controlled everything. And then he'd go off, balloon up, and then you're fighting his weight again, and you're taking away everything else.
It's a short career as well, isn't it?
Boxing career.
Yeah, it's not a long.
It's such.
Well, it ages if you like Ricky Hatton, Tyson Fury, they balloon, they come down. But then you look at a Usyk or a Floyd Mayweather, a Bernard Hopkins, they were out, they boxed, then they're back in the gym. They lived that lifestyle, didn't they?
Yeah.
And that's why they had long, healthy careers.
Yeah. That's right.
So it does put miles on the clock, doesn't it? You know, if you're having to lose 4 stone every bout, it gets harder.
Yeah. It's especially with the opportunities to earn money now. Yeah. With like the Frank Warren and Eddie Earn all pulling together and what's happening with Turkey, everyone's all coming in together now. When there's that many opportunities to change your life, you've got to be stupid if you're not ready. Yeah, because that phone call might go and you might have that opportunity out the blue where you take, and then you go onto a big kind of boxing Cyrus Patterson. Everyone kind of off in that apart from us. So everyone think, oh, Cyrus, he's up and coming. Off the GB setup, sharp, he's been looking good. Where me kind of looked at that and went, you just all wrong for him, completely wrong for him. And he took that opportunity, got the win. Now look how he's changed his career completely round just off that one fight. Yeah,
and that's what life is, isn't it? That one incident, be it good or bad, can change everything. Yeah, a moment's madness or a moment's luck can change the outlook of your life, can't it? Yeah. And as you said, if you're going to be a professional athlete, because if this is what you want to do with your life, give it your all and be ready, because who knows?
Yeah, it's true. That's it. Same as the amateurs, though, ain't it now? Yeah. Like a lot of the we have amateurs in the club who, well, you're in boxing next week. Oh, I'm not ready. Yeah. Hey, what do you mean you're not ready? Like, if you're not ready, when your season starts, you should not stop training. And eating clean, obviously, a few weeks here or there off, and when your body needs a little bit of a rest. But you should be ready from October till July. Yeah,
should be hovering around your weight.
You should be there. Yeah, and that's where the phone call. Like now, you don't have the spares anymore, do you? When you used to go to boxing show before, you'd
bring your kids just in case.
Yeah, and then you'd end up all of a sudden rich in boxing. I don't know.
Come towards you.
And then you box your best. You perform your best because you haven't been thinking about it for 3 days. Yeah. You know, you haven't been
worry and have chance to set
overthinking about tactics, how to beat him on the pads on the Wednesday because you're fighting on the Friday. So you just get in there and that's what you've dealt with, and then you perform and you'd find out that you box your best.
Yeah. And you've got an excuse because you walked in on the day and had to fight.
That's it. If you do lose, we're ready. You can walk away with a bit more on a positive note, but them days they seem to have gone.
But you can see them kids, like the champions, whether they go and be a champion, but they act as a champion. They win on the Sunday, they're back on the Monday. They lose on the Sunday, they're back in on them. And that's because you have some kids and they lose and it's, well, I need a month to get my head right. And thinking,
do I really want it anymore?
Yeah.
It's a shame. You see it all the time, and you see so much kids with so much potential that can, you think you might have a junior, and you look at you think, do you know what? When he's senior, he's going to be unbelievable. Because when he gets that man strength, he's going to be absolutely unbelievable. But then you've got to try and get the process right to keep him in the gym and keep him moving and keep him in that positive attitude. But it's hard. It's hard work.
And you're fighting against stuff that's easier to do, like going out with girls and playing on your Xbox, and it's easier than getting in the ring and being it and training.
It's to join a gang now.
Yeah. It's just
like it's. You know what I mean? You could get to the park now and meet a bunch of lads, and then all of a sudden you feel like you're part of something.
Yeah,
So
and you don't have to sweat for it.
Yeah, it's scary. And then all of a sudden you're getting paid because someone's grooming a bunch of kids out of them on the park for doing little jobs for them.
Yeah.
And it's going on, especially around our area.
Yeah.
So it's scary, scary times.
And yet they don't fund us, do they? You think like yours, Priory, here. If you take these clubs away, where do those kids and the adults go?
They don't fund a lot of it. Kev, I was speaking to someone the other day whose son plays football, and I couldn't believe the amount of money it cost him for his son to play football for a team. I'm just thinking, like, I remember as a kid, it's 50p. Down here, it's been 50p for about 15 years, hasn't it? Or is it £1 now? You put it up. But it's cheap, and I just think, you kickboxing, all that. Just look and go, how are people affording to do that? You're talking, 40, 50 quid every couple of weeks to play football. I was just thinking, hold up, this used to be a sport that anyone can join, and this is where the government needs saying, actually, it doesn't matter if it's boxing, football, whatever it is, fund these so the kids have got somewhere to go and be.
Well, they look at all the pro, like the pro schools now, and all the SEN schools. You look at autism rates going through the roof. There's more SEN kids now being taught in mainstream schools. There's so much money that's going into the children, but it's the little pockets around the schools and education system that the kids could benefit most from. Like your football club, your youth club. There's no more youth clubs anymore.
No.
They all turned into social workers. So there's more social workers, but there's no youth centres. You put a youth. When there's one in Coles, when I was younger, there's one in Colesley. Then there's one in Tipton. There's one in Dunston. So there's and in them youth clubs, you used to have role models. It would be the nice bloke who takes you out on that trip to Alton Towers if you behaved for 7 weeks. So your little football tournaments you'd set up. You'd want to do. You won't want to be a twat because he gives us these opportunities. Now there's no youth centre anymore. There's no role models, and that's what boxing coaching brings. You become a role model.
And boxing is still affordable. No matter what club you go to around here, you ain't paying a lot to do it.
Nah, I say we charge £25 a week, and there's 4 sessions a week, and then you can come and use the gym on the weekend. If you're under 18, your parent can come along with you. Then, if there's no actual class on itself, your parent can come along then and sit in the gym while you train. Yeah. So you work it out on an each session basis. It's
it's not a lot.
£60, £1.70, something like that per session.
That's what we're in it for, and it is to make it a better place for each other. And you see these stories and the kids, and you're thinking, you've just been thrown on the scrap heap here. Everyone's always told you're a scumbag and you're a little shit and you're about it, and you're thinking, all you need is a bit of love, and when you're naughty, a bit of a bollocking to keep you in line, because we all need boundaries, don't we? We all need to know, if I'm late, I ain't sparring, or if I don't do this, he's going to give me a bollocking. But you need that love, like you said with Connor. Before anything else, you all done, are you all right? And that could be a squedge of the shoulder, a look in the eye, whatever it is. That's your bond, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think we need more of it. I think we need, as you say, positive role models, because if no one's got a role model, you will find a role model on the park.
You
know what I mean?
It's so easily done. I was working with Wolverhampton youth offenders, working with different I've stopped doing as much with the organisations of that now. Do more in schools. But we had so you had the youngest 12-year-old knife murderer.
Yeah. A baby.
8 years old.
Yeah.
I was working with him. now I've had papers come down. I've had the Daily, so the Telegram, the Sun, the Mirror, all rock up at my gym, wanting me to talk about the individual. And all I could say is what he'd done was absolutely awful, or what he's been charged with in the two is absolutely awful. But what I'm going to tell you is what I've seen in that gym. And that was a lovely, cheeky little smile. Someone that actually needed an arm put around him. Someone who needed a bit of love. He needed to be allowed to be a kid because he was 8 years old and he was having to grow up way too quick. And I'd watch him run in the gym. At the end of each session, he'd be like, I was like, what do you want to do now? You've done well today. Oh, can I play football? So we got a little softball in the gym. And I'll let him play football with my son. My son would be about 3, 4 years old. And my son would be running around and there'd be play fights on the floor. And he was just an absolute, such a lovable kid.
Yeah.
Who then gets done for murder at 12 years old, killing a 19-year-old in Wolverhampton. And when I heard it on the radio, I was just like, I said to my wife, I've got a feeling that's so-and-so.
Yeah.
Then he turned out to be right. And you're just
October.
like, he's just a cracking kid. A cracking kid. Which is just such a shame. But
It's a shame all involved in it, because
everyone involved.
you can't imagine he's gone out to do it, but then something that I don't want to guess because I don't know, but something's happened. It's happened, and now you think, Jesus Christ, what hope you got now?
What choices have you just made there?
And it's probably just that split-second choice that has just destroyed not only his and his family's life, but the other person. And
someone's passed away, someone's left without a child, and then some other child's now in jail for murder. And could it have been stopped? Yeah. Could we have all pulled in a bit more? Yeah. Do we need to open up the youth clubs and youth centres now to bring kids together? Yeah. Not just, we've got a knife pandemic and the country's in a mess. What do we keep? Let's do nothing then. Let's talk about the next one next week. We've been such a mess. We've been such a pandemic. Things need to change, but we won't do nothing. We'll just wait for next week, and then we'll talk about the same thing again. Like, fuck that, enough's enough. Like, we need to be on the streets. We need to be going into primary schools. We need to start. And
again, it doesn't have to be boxing, does it? It can be anything that you can get him. In fact, it's got to be everything, because not everyone's going to want to box or play football or rugby. Everyone's going to want to do something that's different. But if you have the option to try all those things and go, you know what, that was the thing I'm going to stick at there.
But primary school, a lot of my work now comes through secondary schools, not a lot through primary schools. And I'm like, that's where you're going to change the kids. Them kids in year 4, 5 and 6, that's where you need to get into their foundations of discipline. Like, have your gratitude, you know what I mean? Have your self-love.
And then
love the person you are, be confident in who you are. So when they go to secondary school, they've got that already. Not be low self-esteem, get to year 7 and feel like shit, and then all of a sudden year 10 comes along, goes, I want to be part of that. And then they pull you in. Next thing you know, you're going through the system where you're just going to be up to no good.
And if you've got confidence in yourself and what you do and pride in yourself, you don't follow that person then, do you?
No,
because you've got your own path and you've got your own, you don't need to.
But how many times has a boxer been in the pub and someone's had a scrap? I bet every boxer out there has had one opportunity to potentially punch someone, and you've actually gone, no, I ain't ruining my reputation, my career, his health, my hands for a moment of madness. And I bet every boxer can relate to that, where they think, no, do you know what? No, I ain't doing it. I'm having that discipline. I'm having that self-respect. I'm going to ignore what he's just said and move on. And we'll talk about it when he's sober on Monday. Let's see if he's got the same energy then, and talk about like grown-ups, where I think that's what we're missing in society. Everyone just goes off bang instincts, and it's a shame.
It is a shame, isn't it? It is. You change the subject, so you just recently started work with England as well, aren't you? As if you ain't doing enough.
Yeah, I know. My wife says the same.
She must not like you. Keep him out of the house.
So I just got onto the development coaching team. It's been an amazing experience.
Yeah,
absolutely love it. Coaches and some top coaches you're working with, and it's good just to like pick the brains and learn. And you hear one coach say something, you're like, okay, what ask why? Why have you had that? And then the explanation comes out, and you're like, oh, I'd never think of that. It's like it's really, well, you know yourself with your dad.
Yeah.
It just opens up a massive like pool of just learning, and the boxers that come along to work with are just unbelievable.
Yeah,
such talented kids.
You got to realise that as a coach as well. You ain't completed boxing because you're a coach.
Oh, no,
There's still so much more to learn and do and pick up off other people.
It's you never stop learning, do you? No, never ever stop learning. I think, and you got to be open to. So I love asking questions like, why did you do that drill? What's that drill for? And then the other week, one of the top coach was on the camp, was at Sheffield, and he was working on something in sparring, and he was asking him to do it. And I said, hey, would you get him to practice that as a drill though? And he's like, I'll show you in a sec what I'd do. And then like at the end of the spar, shouted him, I said, see, this type of stuff I'd work on too. And you're like, I'm going to start putting in. Connor could do with a bit of that, or my other fighter could do with a bit of that. So you just got to be a massive sponge and put it all together and hope for the best.
Isn't that what it is to be a human being again, though, isn't it? Picking people's brains, because we've got 2 ears and 1 mouth, and we should use them in that order. You know, I already know what I know, to get as much information as I can into my head. That's how we learn, isn't it?
That's why we do this, isn't it, Kev? For the amount of people we have on and who teach us. You know what I mean? That's that's the fun of it, isn't it?
It is.
You get to learn different things and try them out. And
So when's Connor fighting then?
The 25th of January.
And how can we watch it?
It'll be on DAZN.
On DAZN again?
Yeah, or if you wanted tickets, tickets will be available through Connor. It's in Nottingham Arena. So you've got the British and Commonwealth. And hopefully, that will be the belts coming back to Wolverhampton, to the Black Country. And then I've got Mia Holland also having a second bout on the 7th of March as well, at the Angler in Wolverhampton.
Brilliant, mate.
So if you want tickets for that, get in touch with Mia Holland.
Congratulations. Have you got any home shows coming up?
Nothing that we've booked in at the moment. We've changed a few dates around due to the shows. So everything's
trying to balance it all.
Everything's just, I'm just waiting for that point where I'll possibly do like pop.
Do you have coaches that coach your amateurs as well?
Yeah.
You want to give them a shout out?
Yeah.
You probably work all day work hard.
Dal Flew, Richard Holland, Reese, Cole. We've got a great team of coaches. Ellie, we've got a really, really good team. A solid base. We all get on. We all have a laugh. None of us are perfect. If one coach is one way, one coach is another way, we just appreciate it all and we just come together as one, really.
And if they do want to join your club, what's the best way of finding out?
Social media, so RG Boxing Club on Facebook and Instagram, or get in contact direct with myself.
And before you go, have you got any quotes or sayings that help you get through life?
No, not really. I want to say any quotes. I just think just take it every day as it comes. Every day, step by step. Some days you'll wake up and I can feel this little bit of anxiety stuck in my throat and my chest. Then you just have to take it on board and just listen to it and don't let it beat you. You be in control of it. When you're having a shit day, the next day is completely different. Forget about next week. Concentrate on that next day and get through that next day.
Well, brother, thank you ever so much for coming on, and thank you guys
for having me.
And thank you guys for listening. So until we see you next week, take care of yourselves and each other. Try a bit.
Listen.
And that's a wrap for another show. But if there are any comments or messages that you would like us to read out for our next podcast, please be in touch. There are also lots of different organisations at the bottom of this page, and hopefully they can help you or someone you care about. Please share this to spread the word. Until we talk next time, ta-ra a bit.
Listen.